Welcome back to New York Talk, episode 170. I'm your host, Elyse DeLucci. Welcome to my kitchen on the Upper East Side. Happy New Year. And look, before I start kibitzing, we start talking, I start rambling, whatever, we need to talk about Los Angeles. 1 second. I mean, it would be completely selfish and out of control if I just sat here and didn't address it, right? Like you, I can't believe what's happening. The pictures online are like an apocalypse. Nothing anybody's ever seen before. My heart goes out to anybody that's affected, that lost a home, families that lost a home. I can't imagine. I was at an event for American Girl dolls the other day on the weekend, and I was talking to the marketing director of one of the brands there, and I said, "Oh, were you guys?" Because one of the brands was California based. I said, "Oh, are you okay? How's your house?" And she said, "Our houses are okay, our offices are okay, but we have family and friends that lost their homes." And I just can't believe that. Everything. And a lot of the media, by the way, is talking about all the celebrities that have, lost their houses. Mel Gibson, Paris Hilton, Milo Ventimiglia, Melissa Rivers, Candy Spelling. And, listen, it's like, yes, it's sad for anybody that has no house to come home to. But what about the regular people like you and I? I read something in the paper, and a woman, a mother, she said her house burnt down and her child's school burnt down. And they were in a parking lot and they had to go buy stuff. So she went into Target and she bought the cheapest suitcase that she could find, which was like $189. And then she bought a laptop so she could work. And she's walking around the store with the laptop inside the suitcase. And she had this moment of realization. This is all she has. That and the clothes on her back. And she said, what's going to happen? Even when we get to, a shelter or someplace out of town, my child literally has no school to go to. I can't imagine. I really, oh God, I can't. Anyway, okay, so let's not be miserable. Happy New Year, like I said. Fact of the day, 45% of Americans make New Year's resolutions and only 10% keep them. I don't know about you, but this lady is in the 10%, okay? Every New Year's, I'm like, I'm gonna save money. I'm gonna go on a diet. I'm going vegan. I'm gonna do mushroom coffee and only. And it's always it never works out. And by the way, even on my Christmas list, I'll put like contraptions, to support my New Year's resolution. Like I'll be like, oh, I'm gonna get these weights for my wrists, so when I walk around in the supermarket, I'm gonna be doing exercise, multitask. Oh, I'm gonna get kettlebells. I'm gonna get a yoga mat, and I'm like, oh, Santa baby's gonna bring that to mommy, right? I did that this year. I bought, on my Christmas list, I put this contraption on. I got it. Ask me if I used it one time. And I will tell you about that later in the episode on product of the day. But, it's like, I guess eventually you're like, another year. All right, good. I guess we have to be happy for our health and that we're healthy and we're happy some of the time. And I don't know, for most of us, hopefully most of us, or all of us, we have our home, right? Okay, I'm not talking about the fires anymore. Last episode I mentioned cookies and, Christmas baking, and I was a complete maniac. I was not prepared how I normally was for Christmas baking. Usually, I do it 2 weeks, a week in advance, and I didn't do it. I did it the day before Christmas Eve. Can you imagine? And I'm making all mistakes. Like, how, for example, you're making chocolate chip cookies. My kids love them, right? Even though it's not in the thing, usually I make the cucciadati, the fig cookies. I make pinoli cookies. I make strufoli. I make, what else do I make? I make, the spritz cookies, with the gun thing. I recommend, so fun for kids, literally so fun. But they wanted chocolate chip cookies also this year. So, because I'm multitasking, running around the kitchen, baking, like as if I'm running a bake shop, as if I'm like Betty Crocker in here. I I'm making the chocolate chip cookies, I cream the the butter and the sugar, as normal, and I put in all the other stuff, and the eggs and the vanilla and the chips, and then I realized at the end, I'm like, oh shit, why does this look so wet? I forgot to put the flour and the baking soda and the sugar, or whatever else it was, and I'm like, how did I do that? But I thought, it can't be that bad. I'm just gonna, turn the KitchenAid on, and I'm just gonna cook them as usual, bake them as usual. And they were horrific. They were disgusting. Chris was sweet enough to be like, they're still delicious, but right in the trash. I mean, come on. I didn't even want to give them to the doorman downstairs. That's what it was about. I didn't make these carrot cake cookies, by the way, because that doesn't even go with Christmas. But I was trying to find a cookie recipe that could be healthy. I know, listen, it's a stretch. I am trying, okay? And it's not like a deceptively delicious kind of thing. It wasn't that Seinfeld's wife's cookbook, which by the way was very good, where she sneaks the zucchini and all that stuff into things. This is just more like, my kids know that they're carrot cake cookies, and let's eat them and enjoy them, because you should have more carrots, period. Like, we're not sneaking it around. And I found this recipe online, and it was all just shungad, the recipe. But I have it here for you today, and try it. I actually really like them. The cookies tasted like little bits of carrot cake, It was good. So here's the recipe, right? It's pretty easy. 2 3/4 cup of flour, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 3/4 teaspoons of salt, 1 1/2 teaspoon cinnamon, 1 1/2 teaspoon allspice, 1 1/2 teaspoon cloves, 1 cup of butter room temperature, 3/4 cup sugar, 3/4 cup brown sugar, 2 teaspoons of vanilla, 2 large eggs, and 1 1/2 cups of grated carrots, which is like 4, medium-sized long carrots. And you preheat the oven to 50 degrees, and you grease the baking sheet. But I've been using parchment lately because I can't be bothered. And although it's always so annoying, you rip the parchment out, and then you got to cut it in the sheet because if it curls around the baking sheet, that drives me nuts anyway. So, it's the usual. In the bowl, you mix the dry ingredients, the flour, baking soda, salt, cinnamons, allspice, blah, blah. And then, in your KitchenAid or in a large bowl, you do the butters and the sugars until they're light and fluffy. Mix in the vanilla and the eggs, as you always would do. Do the dry ingredients, then you do the carrots. And you put the little spoonfuls of the cookie batter, obviously, on the baking sheet, and you bake them 10 to 12 minutes, and obviously allow them to cool. I think I baked mine for more. And the original recipe called for, by the way, just cinnamon. And what kind of Italian woman would I be if I wasn't like, let me add my own little dash, let me add my own little brand to that, my own secret ingredient, which is not a secret. It was allspice and cloves. But you could, omit it if you don't have it. And they were good. They were really good. I'm gonna make them again. And I'm hoping that they're still going to come out delish. I'll keep you posted, but try them. I mean, they're not bad. And by the way, if you type in carrot cake cookies or zucchini cookie, you can find all these vegetable-y cookies online. And they're not, to be honest, not all the recipes are great. Obviously, when you bake all the time or often, as you just get to the point of when you read a recipe, if it's going to be okay or not. That's also so Italian, isn't it? I read the recipe and I know if it's going to be good. I can't, it's obnoxious. I don't mean it in that way, Anyway, moving on. Andy Warhol's townhouse is for rent, by the by, if you have a spare $22,000 a month. Actually, it's $22,550 if you have that. It's on the Upper East Side. It's a 4-floor pre-war townhouse, and Andy Warhol lived there in the 60s and the early 70s, and he bought it for only $60,000 back then. Talk about a ROI, you know? Real estate, people, real estate. I have the address here. Hold on. 1342 Lexington Avenue. He made his Campbell's Soup series here. Yeah. His Chelsea Girls film. That's cool. It's totally cool. I would never rent an apartment for that money. Neither would you. Okay, but glamorous and cool and whatever. Congestion pricing in Manhattan. What are you thinking about that? I did a video online. The $9 tolls. You know, 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. whatever the hours are. You know, Monday through every day. It's not even Monday through Friday. I almost said Monday through Friday. It's not. It's every day of the week. They don't even give you an effing break on the weekends. And you know, it started January 5th. So if you come from downtown above 60th, you get charged the toll. You go below, you're coming from above 60th. I live above 60th. You live above 60th. You're going downtown driving. You pay the toll. That's effing bullshit. Okay. I actually don't have a car anymore in Manhattan because I had an accident a few years ago driving out to Long Island, which was really scary, on the Meadowbrook, and I was like smashed from either side. I was, you know, front and back, and I was fine, thank God, but my car was totaled. And at the time, I was paying a lot of money for a garage, which I thought was a lot of money, $350 a month. And since then, the garage prices went up to $650 a month. You know what I could do with $650? I mean, I could do a lot. Okay, I could do a lot. So I said, forget it. Besides the fact I have no extra money to be just outright buying a car. I don't want to lease a car. I don't like leasing things. I mean, some people really swear by it, so, you know, you might swear by it, but because they want a new car every few years, and I totally get it. But I like to buy a car and then run it to the ground forever, and that's what I did with my old car. But there's no way I am spending that money in a garage. But the reason why I'm telling you that is because when I had a car, at night, I would drive it downtown to the comedy clubs when I would do my sets. So 7 o'clock in the evening, 6 o'clock in the evening, till 10, 11 o'clock at night, you know, I had the safety of my car. Well, you know, if I did have a car, I would be spending $18 just like that, just to get down there. It's ridiculous. It's effing ridiculous, okay? I mean, I know we all pay a ton of taxes in this city, but I don't know why they would do this. I mean, it's obviously to reduce, to reduce the cars on the road, and it is working. But can't we like tax the billionaires or something? And sorry if that's you. No, it's not you. It's not you. They're not listening to our carrot cake cookie podcast. Okay. God, it's like Leona Helmsley. You know, you remember her? They called her the Queen of Mean. The Queen of Mean. She was a real estate heiress. Her husband, you know, she married this guy. You look her up if you don't know her. I mean, you definitely know her. Her husband owned the Empire State Building, all these hotels and prominent commercial real estate buildings, right? And when he died, she inherited, when they owned, I think it was the Park Lane Hotel, Helmsley Hotel on Central Park West, is it? South? Anyway, when the husband died, Leona inherited $4 billion. That's right, $4 billion. And she was, you know, apparently, so she's this real estate woman. Apparently she was real witch to everybody that worked for her, and they dubbed her the Queen of Mean. And this is how much money she had, okay? When she died, she left $12 million to her dog, Maltese. The dog was a Maltese named Trouble. Okay, the dog had a $12 million trust fund. Okay, my mother wouldn't even give me $12. If I called her up and I said, Ma, I want to buy this thing, can I have $12 Venmo? She'd be like, get out of here. Like, let alone $12 million. Okay, the courts, when she passed away, thought this was the most excessive thing. They reduced it to $2 million. And Fortune magazine, by the way, dubbed this the 101 most dumbest moments in business in 2007. But, you know, it's like, so what do? There's a dog that's has $2 million in a trust. The owners are dead. So when she was living, she also appointed a caretaker. And seriously, this is Manhattan money for you. You want to hear Manhattan? For 10 years, okay, the caretaker it was like $100,000 allowance for the security, the grooming, the food, and all that, the dog expenses, and then the guardian himself had like a $60,000 a month salary. Swear to God, look it up. And the only reason why I'm sharp on these facts, because you're like, what is this lady? Just know this random stuff? No, I was reading it recently and I couldn't believe it. So you know what? Even though she's dead, why don't you tax somebody like her in $18, all over the city? Come on. But us, it's honestly, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, but whatever. Anyway, okay, let me just say this. I had my daughter's birthday party, so cute, like a few weeks ago, and she turned 9, and we did a manicures for the kids. I did manicures for the girls, and then I invited them all back, for pizza and cookie making. And I invited the moms. And it was the first time that I know this sounds kind of crazy. It was the first time I invited the kids' friends' mothers over. And it's kind of sad in some ways because, I have 2 girls, and for like a decade, I haven't had the mothers at my house. People in Manhattan, unless you have a very big apartment, people in Manhattan don't usually have company over a lot, and I really do feel like my home is like my sanctuary, and it's very like a lot of stuff, and it's the dog and the kids and me, and like there's always like stuff around, not like hoarder stuff, but just like, I'm just like, when you have company over, like, I want to make it really nice, and I like never have time. But it was the first time I had these women over, and I put out a big antipasto, and I had champagne and, and like chips and dip and whatever. And it was really fun. So I'm going to do that more often. And I know you're like, this is not anything interesting to talk about, but I don't know. For me, it is, right? For me, it is. And again, if I lived in the suburbs and I had a pool and I had a yard, or I had a big house, or even not a big house, just a house with a backyard, driveway, of course I'd have these mothers at the house, But we actually had a really good time, and I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of myself because sometimes I could be picky with my friends. I only like people that are like me, like meaning super down to earth. Like to go to diners, like, love Walmart and Costco and Target. Like, I like to go to Costco, by the way, for sample time. And even though I live in like a really fancy neighborhood on the Upper East Side, because I do, and I'm a fish out of water, if you haven't guessed, I tend to like keep to myself. In my everyday life, which you wouldn't think based on my videos. But I was very happy, and I'm going to continue to do more of that. Yay for me. Maybe I should make that my New Year's resolution, because that's a little more realistic than starving myself, okay? I did tell Chris that I wanted to start keto again, by the way, and he was like, don't. You were so miserable. He's like, I don't care what people thought you were. I don't care how you thought you looked and how you looked and what you lost. He's like, you were so unhappy. I was just like, really? Yeah, well, not having macaroni and sugar will do that to you. But I do want to cut back on the sugar. I do want to cut back on sugar. That's not good. Okay, product of the week. One of my wacky New Year's Eve, resolutions is to find my chi. And so I got a Japanese chi machine, which is called the Swing Master. And basically what it is, it's a small little device that it looks almost like, I'm looking at it now, it looks like a cross between a small suitcase and a potty. I know, if I post this little video, if I post like this clip on social, I'll put it like in the corner so you could see it. But Basically, it's a white little box, right? Little potty box. And you put it on the floor. And on top of it, it has two little ankle rests, right? Like padded ankle rests. And all you do is you lay on the floor and you put your ankles on top of the padded ankle rest, and you turn on a little button, and there's a dial like low and high, and the ankle rest moves side to side, like left to right. Again, like this is ridiculous. I'm doing it like sitting here at the table, left to right, like a fish, right? You're moving, flapping around like a fish. And it goes for 15 minutes, and you have to be there for the whole 15 minutes, and it just shakes your legs. And basically what it does, or supposed to do, it gives you this rush of energy up your legs. It's supposed to improve your blood flow. It's supposed to give you some weight loss. I mean, and also like says stress. I don't know how it really is like a stress reducer, but they say that because I really think there's nothing like a massage, give me a break. But they say that the back and forth motion is really soothing, and it tends to just like relax your nervous system, right? I don't care if it doesn't work. I am a marketer's dream. Add to cart. That's what I would do if I didn't have it. Any exercise that requires laying down is something that's for me. Like, by the way, before I got the Swing Master, the Chi machine, I years ago, like a few years ago, I did Pilates on the Reformer, private lessons, only because I wanted to lay down. Like, because you're laying on the Reformer. It's like a bed, it's like a hospital bed. You're laying on the bed, and then those are the contraptions above you. That's the only reason why I did it, because I could lay down, right? So I did the Swing Master a couple times, and it's great. I don't know if it's giving me more energy and the blood flow, but it's definitely different. It's definitely different. So that's my product of the week. You can go on Amazon. You can read the reviews for yourself. It was like, I think, $150. Part of my Christmas gift from Chris. He was like, oh, look, this reminds me of the time you bought a $50 rowing machine and used it once. All right. So what? So what? That's that. Here's my quote of the day. Cheers to a new year and another chance for us to get it right. I don't know who said that quote, but it's so true, isn't it? We think that it's a new year and it's a fresh page and let's just get it right. But if New Year's didn't exist, it would just be another day. And shouldn't it really be, though, that every day we wake up and try to get it right? Or every day we wake up and just feel fulfilled and happy, and every day we wake up and it's a blank page and a fresh start? Yeah, it should. That's, I feel like, very Buddha of me. Maybe I'm going to explore it. Maybe I'm going to go into a Buddhist phase. I might do that. I did that years ago. I went to an ashram. It was interesting. More on that another time. But anyway, yes, cheers to a new year and another chance for us to get it right. I'm Elyse DeLucci. This has been episode 170. Love to love you, baby.